DOJ on March 16th announced charges against
联邦司法部在2022年3月16号宣布起诉5名男子，指控他们充当中共政府的代理人，进行一系列大胆而且范围广泛的计划，在美国境内跟踪和骚扰华裔异议人士。刘俊表示，他和女儿刘美贤 Alisa Liu 分别被列入这项刑事诉讼中的异议人士3号与家庭成员。
So, with regards to the DOJ's allegation of CCP spies operation targeting Arthur Liu and his daughter Alisa Liu, I started my interview with Arthur Liu by asking how much he knows about it and what exactly happened.
First of all, I was approached by the FBI last October that the Chinese agents are trying to collect my information and my daughter's information, particularly our passport information. And I even heard that they wanted my most recent photographs of me. And I was warned by the FBI, and I was aware of what was going on. And they wanted me to watch over my shoulders, pay attention to my surroundings.
So why do you think the Chinese Communist government targeted you and your daughter?
The reason I think is because I participated in the organization of the protests during the democracy movement back in 1989 in China. I was subsequently wanted by the Chinese government after the Tiananmen Square massacre, and I was able to come to the United States as a political refugee. I think even after 30-some years, the Chinese government still remembers what I did back in 1989. And because my daughter is a figure skater, she has been making a lot of progress. She won U.S. Nationals in the last couple of years, twice in a row in 2019 and 2020. So she had a very good prospect of making Team USA in the Winter Olympic Games in Beijing. So what I think is the Chinese government was really afraid that I might go to China and use the opportunity to condemn the human rights violations, to promote democracy or human rights in China. And also my daughter, like 2 or 3 years ago, she posted on her Instagram to condemn the human rights violations committed by the government on the Uyghurs in Xinjiang province. So I think the Chinese government was aware of that, even though at that time she was only 13, 14 years old. And I think they were afraid that my daughter might speak up and say stuff like that during the Olympic Games. So they were trying to have a kind of tight control of me and my daughter. That's what I think why they were doing this to us, because this is really going to the extreme to hire investigators, to send spies to the U.S. to gather information and our passport information in the U.S. So it's wrong. Obviously, it's against international law and also against U.S. laws to spy on anybody here in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they not only send the spies from China, but also they hired like Americans, right? In your case as well.
Right. They hired American, local people to help them engage in such conduct. Their plan was to have this man from Florida to come to the Bay Area to plant GPS trackers on my cars, to collect our passport information, to gather our social security numbers and our personal information. And my understanding that he came to the Bay Area at least twice, and I don't know how long he stayed each time.
Did you have personal encounter with him?
I had a personal, like over the phone. I clearly remember one day I received a phone call from somebody sounds like a Caucasian man. He said he represented to me that he is an official from the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. That he needs my passport copies and my daughter's passport copies to check if we are ready for international travel. And I felt suspicious because I actually never had any interactions with the U.S. Olympic Committee back in October or before that. My most contact was with the U.S. Figure Skating Association. So I was a little bit suspicious that he would be calling me to get the information. So I told him, I would submit the copies the next day directly to my contact in the U.S. OPC. So I didn't give him any personal information over the phone. But my understanding is that he actually came to the Bay Area 2 days ago when the news broke. My neighbor came over and told us that he actually saw this man at least twice lurking around my office. And I don't know what else he did to me. Their plan was to plant a GPS tracker in my vehicles and gather my other personal information. So I may have had personal encounters with him, but I wouldn't recognize it was him or what they were doing because I'm in the open, they are in the dark. So I had no means to identify them.
Right. Since the FBI warned you, advised you, so were you worried to sending, still having your daughter going to China? And did she encounter any trouble over there?
I was extremely concerned about my daughter's personal safety at that time because at that time, from her past achievement, we felt that she had a very good chance of representing the United States in the Winter Olympic Games. And with the Chinese government collecting our information and, going to such an extent to do this, that made me really frightened and very concerned about her personal safety. So I talked to the FBI, of course, about that. And they pretty much assured me that she will be safe because she will be with the U.S. delegation. She will have team leaders. She will have teammates. And also, there are other officials from the State Department, from the U.S. Olympic Committee. There are a lot of officials there watching over her. So, I felt pretty good about sending her there. But at the same time, of course, as her father, I'm still very worried about her safety.
Yeah. Did she have any trouble over there or any suspicious,
She would not really know if she was followed or if they did something to her, except there was one incident. I believe she told me there was like late night. She and another skater went to the cafeteria to get some ice cream. They couldn't sleep because that was after the free skate in the Olympic Games. So they were done. The competition was over. So they couldn't sleep, and so they went to the cafeteria. And there was a Caucasian man intentionally sitting next to them and engaged in conversations with them. Even shook hands with them and invited them to go to his apartment. And my daughter got a little bit suspicious, and then they left. But then he followed them to their apartments building. So yeah, and I believe my daughter reported the incident to the authorities at that time. But we don't know what happened. If they had any investigation as to who that person is and what he was doing there, what his role was, but he clearly was not an American. He spoke English, and he had an accent. So
he had an accent.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so now does your daughter, now she's back and the news broke out, from the DOJ. Is she aware of that right now?
She is aware of what happened, and her first reaction was, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" I said, "Well, I didn't want to scare you."
Yeah.
I didn't want to scare you, So she's pretty mad about what happened, But what can she do? She's only 16.
Yeah. So do you ever talk to her about what Chinese Communist government did and is doing, and what they did to you back 30-some years ago? Do you ever talk to her about those things?
I have told her my story. So she's aware of my background, and according to her Instagram post, she's very proud of what I did back in 1989. So she's fine with it. She supports me.
Yeah, because a lot of Chinese parents may not, tell their kids who were born here, never had any knowledge about Chinese Communist Party. So sometimes their kids not really aware of those, what's really happening there, and also things are happening here as well.
Yeah, she's a little bit shocked to learn, that the Chinese spies are on us, and she's really mad about it.
So, from your experience, what would you like to say to our fellow Americans about what you and your daughter experienced?
We first of all, we have to live our lives as we want. We should not be stopped by anybody, or threatened by anybody, or intimidated by anybody. For the way of life that we enjoy in America, we enjoy the freedom of speech, freedom of association, and we have the rule of law here. That's number one. Number two, I think, you have to be aware of your surroundings and who's around you. And I'm not saying to be suspicious of everyone who approaches you, but definitely have a second thought as to who you're dealing with. Be careful, because the Chinese government would do anything to try to accomplish their goals.
Yeah. Thank you, Arthur, for sharing with our audience.
You're welcome. Thank you.
订阅新田面对面频道，并打开小铃铛，这样就不会错过最新的视频节目了。